You ever move somewhere and feel like something's already waiting for you? That's what happened to me when I moved to Maple Crescent. From the outside, it looked like a dream. Perfect little houses, trimmed hedges, friendly neighbors. But on the first night, I knew something was off. There were no sounds. No dogs barking. No TVs behind the windows. Just this thick, heavy silence. At around 2:14 a.m., I heard knocking. Soft, careful knocks, like they didn't want to wake anyone else. Knock. 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 I looked through the peephole. No one. But across the street, every single porch light was on. And all the curtains closed. The next morning, I tried to act normal. Tried meeting the neighbors. Most of them smiled. But their eyes didn't move. Their faces felt stuck. Then this one old guy, Mr. Carter, pulled me aside. He leaned in close and whispered, "Don't answer the door after midnight." I said, "Why? What happens?" But he just turned and walked away. That night, I kept all the lights off. Double-locked everything. And stayed awake, just in case. At exactly 12:47 a.m. my phone buzzed. One message. No caller ID. We're coming to welcome you properly. Please open the door. My stomach dropped. I grabbed a kitchen knife. Ran to the window. And I saw them. 6 people. Standing in a perfect line across my front yard. Barefoot. Wearing nightgowns. Just standing there. All of them were my neighbors. I didn't answer the door. Didn't move. Then I heard it. Knock. 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 It grew louder. Harder. Like they were pounding with both hands. And just when I thought they'd break the door down. Silence. I must have passed out, because when I woke up, it was morning. The TV was on. The screen cracked and scratched into the wall, right above the couch. In jagged letters. Next time, open the door. I ran outside, panicking. And there they were. All of them. Watering lawns. Walking dogs. Smiling. Like nothing had happened. I called the cops. When the officer arrived, I told him everything. He looked confused. Then he asked me, "Sir, which house are you living in again?" I pointed. "Number 42. He went quiet. Then he said, "Sir, that house has been empty since the fire last year. No one's lived there since the guy went missing." I laughed. I said, "What? What are you talking about? I just moved in last week, my furniture's there, my stuff's inside." He looked me dead in the eyes. "That house is boarded up. Has been for months." I turned around. And he was right. The paint was peeling. Windows shattered. The porch caved in. I backed away. He told me. "The guy before you said the same thing. That the neighbors would knock at night. Said they were watching him." Then he looked around, and whispered. He opened the door. "Now I live in my car. Keep moving. Never stay anywhere longer than 2 nights. Because sometimes, at gas stations, or diners off the highway, I still see them." When I moved into my new place, I didn't expect to become obsessed with a basement that wasn't mine. My new neighbor, Mrs. Ellery, was one of those old women who barely spoke. Thin, pale, always wearing this faded maroon cardigan, even in the heat. Her house was quiet. Too quiet. But what caught my attention was the basement window. It faced my bedroom directly. And every single night, at exactly 3:11 a.m., I'd see the same thing. A light would flicker on. Then a shadow would move across the window. Like someone pacing back and forth, slowly. But Mrs. Ellery lived alone. At least, that's what I thought. One day, I saw her struggling with grocery bags, so I offered to help. She hesitated. Then nodded. Inside, the air was cold. Colder than it should have been. Smelled like old wood, and something else. Like rust. Blood. As I set her bags on the counter, I heard something. A bang. From below. The basement. I froze. She didn't. She just whispered, "It gets loud when it's hungry." I laughed nervously. "You have a pet down there?" She looked at me. Eyes cloudy. "Wouldn't call it that." Then she offered me tea. I declined. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at that basement window. At 3:11 a.m. The light came on. Same pacing shadow. Only this time. It stopped. And stared. Not moved. Not swayed. Just stood there. As if it knew I was watching. The next day, I called animal control. Told them I heard something dangerous in her basement. They checked. Came back an hour later, pale. One guy said, "There's nothing down there. No animals. Just old shelves." We didn't see a light source either. I told them I saw it every night. They didn't believe me. 2 nights later, I woke up drenched in sweat. Not from heat, but from a dream. In it. I was in her basement. Chained. And something with no face was crawling toward me. But the scariest part. The old woman was standing in the corner. Smiling. I ran outside, heart racing. Looked at her window. Lights were off. But her basement window. Still glowing. I decided to record it. Set up my phone, aimed straight at that basement window. Let it roll all night. Next morning, I checked the footage. At 3:11 a.m., the light came on. The shadow appeared. But then. It didn't pace. It turned. Looked straight at the camera. Then. Walked out of frame. Seconds later, I saw something that made my heart stop. My bedroom window, on camera, opened by itself. And a pale hand pulled the curtain open. From the inside. I ran. Moved out that same week. Told the landlord what happened. He said, "You should have never talked to her." The last guy who moved in, saw that same light. Same time. Started watching it too, and vanished. They found his phone, still recording. I don't sleep near windows anymore. And when I do sleep, I dream of that basement. Sometimes I wake up to the same time on the clock. 3:11 a.m. Even now. And sometimes, I swear I hear pacing. When I moved into my apartment, it felt like a fresh start. Quiet building, clean walls, good view. But there was one thing that stood out. Apartment 2C. The door was always shut. The nameplate scratched out. And the peephole. Covered, with black tape. No one ever came out. No one ever went in. But every night, around 2:40 a.m. I heard the same sound. A slow dragging noise. From inside that apartment. Like something heavy was being pulled across the floor. At first, I thought maybe it was furniture. Or maybe the pipes. Old buildings make noise, right? But then one night, I stood by my door. Held my breath. And listened. Drag, pause. Drag, pause. Then. Knock knock knock. Right on my door. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Then the knocking stopped. And the dragging started again, heading back toward 2C. The next morning, I asked the building manager about it. He gave me a weird look and said, "No one's rented 2C for over a year. Last guy left in a hurry. Left all his stuff behind." I asked why. He just shrugged. Didn't say much. Just told me, someone's living in the walls. I didn't know what to do with that. I tried to ignore it. Sleep with headphones. Turn up the fan. But the sounds only got louder. And then. They started repeating. Like a loop. The dragging. The knock. The silence. Over and over. Every single night. Then one night, I broke. I banged on 2C's door and yelled, "What do you want?" The hallway fell silent. And from behind the door, I heard a whisper. Low. Croaky. "Let me out." I ran back inside. Called the police. When they arrived, I was shaking, pointing at 2C. They knocked. No answer. Then they opened it. The room was empty. Dust on the floor. No furniture. No signs of life. But in the center of the room was a long trail mark in the dust. Like something heavy had been dragged in a circle. Again and again. And scrawled in the dust, over and over. "Let me out. Let me out. Let me out." They shut the door. Told me I must have dreamed it. That I was under stress. But the next night, at 2:40 a.m. Drag, pause, knock knock knock. I didn't open the door. But this time, I looked through the peephole. Across the hall, 2C's door was still closed. But crouched right in front of my door was a man. Skin gray. Eyes all black. Head tilted sideways. And he was smiling. He whispered, "You're next." Then he crawled backward. Not walked. Crawled. Into 2C. Now. The dragging happens every night. But not just at 2:40. Sometimes at 1. Sometimes at 4. Sometimes right behind my wall.